G'day from Thunder Bay, Northwest Ontario, Canada. Sorry I couldn't be there today, but we just kicked off our second project at Root. I wanted to be up there to meet the geologists, the drill crews, and go over that all-weather camp that we just built. Root's a great project. We already know there's LCT lithium-bearing pegmatites, so this is a drill out for us. This will be building our resource base on top of the Seymour project, which is the flagship. So without further ado, I'll jump through the slide pack to talk a little bit more about green technology metals. So at GT1, we want to build the preeminent vertically integrated lithium business right here in Ontario, Canada. We're going to do this by defining the resources. We're going to partner up. We're not doing this alone. And we're going to unlock the value by taking this all the way down the supply chain from exploration to lithium hydroxide. So from a corporate snapshot, we've been sitting around that 70 to 80 cent mark. We've got cash in the bank. We've got great assets in North America, all lithium bearing pegmatites. Got a very good share registry, so we believe we're heavily undervalued. Every good project needs a good team. So right there in the chair, I've got John Young. He co-founded Pilbara Minerals. He's a highly experienced lithium geologist. So right there, I've got exploration and mining experience at the board level. Behind John, I've got Cam Henry. He founded Primero. They build lithium processing plants. So right there, I've got my processing side covered. Then we've got Pat Murphy, MD of AMCI. They fund exploration projects all the way into production. So there's my finance. Then Rob Longley, highly experienced geologist on the board, working with the team. So on the ground, you've got myself, CEO, Green Technology Metals, but I started life as a geologist. Spent many years taking exploration projects into production. One of my most recent experiences was mine manager at Wodgina. Now that gave me the hands-on experience on what it would take to get our operations up and running. Right behind me, I've got Matt Herbert as General Manager out here in Canada. Ex-Rio Tinto, FMG. He's got all the credentials required to kick this project off. Andrea Johnston, ESG Manager. Significant experience working with Indigenous groups in Australia and now Canada. Nathan Sims, a local to Thunder Bay. He's been working on lithium exploration projects for many years, so he knows what it takes to get these up and running. John Winterbottom, Technical Services Manager. A well-seasoned geologist that's taken numerous projects into production. So this is how we're going to create the vertically integrated lithium business here in Ontario. So first of all, we're going to kick off the Seymour project, get that to a critical mass of 10 to 15 million tonnes. We'll then convert that into an SC6 concentrate. The concentrate will then be taken down to Thunder Bay and converted to a lithium hydroxide. And then we will scale. We will scale by bringing on our second projects, just like Root that we kicked off drilling very recently. And as we get to critical mass on Root, that will go into a second processing facility, and then we ramp up the hydroxide plant. This will all build a scalable supply chain. Step one, defining our resource. We've got 10 million tonnes in the bank, and we'll get that up to a critical mass to kick off the first project at Seymour. Behind Seymour, we've already kicked off Root. We're going to define a resource at Root, and then we'll get that one into production. We've got 41,000 hectares of prime lithium real estate in Canada, right on the border of the United States. And we've got 50-60 million tonnes of exploration target over numerous sites. So it's all about partnership. We're not going to do this alone. We've already partnered with the Indigenous groups in where we work. We're partnering with the Ontario and federal government that have significant incentive programs in place for businesses just like us. Lithium Americas Corp, significant downstream processing experience. Primero, they build lithium processing plants around the world, and AMCI, who fund them. So right there, great partnerships already on GT1. It's all about unlocking the full potential of this project. We're going to take it all the way from exploration through into mining, create an SC6 concentrate and then convert that into a lithium hydroxide. By taking it all the way, we're really unleashing that value for GT1 shareholders. So how do we achieve our goals on the ground? We need to leverage our partnerships. We need to build our resources. We've already kicked off permitting, and we really need to accelerate development. Primero are a major shareholder of Green Technology Metals. This is great news. We're on daily calls with Primero. They're part of our production team and getting this operation up and running. Lithium Americas, one of the biggest players in North America. They've got the brines in the south. They've got the clay deposit, Thacker Pass, there in the United States. And now we're in a collaboration agreement with Green Technology Metals, looking at hard rock projects in northern parts of Canada. AMCI, major cornerstone investor in GT1. They're there for the long haul to invest in our operations as we move forward. So we're building our resource base. We've already got 10 million tonnes at Seymour. We've just kicked off drilling at Root. We have all of these other projects in prime real estate locations in Ontario. This is where we'll build our long-term supply chain as we move forward. Our flagship project has been split up into several areas: the Albury Complex, the Pye Complex, and Forsyth. We're currently working on all of these projects with various exploration and drill crews right now. As you can see on the bottom right-hand picture, that's the Albury Complex, a very thick, competent unit of LCT lithium-bearing pegmatite. From my mining experience, that's exactly what you need. You don't want lots of little lenses. You need one thick unit to minimize dilution when you're mining. It's got a very good angle to the deposit in terms of mining. So we're very happy with what we've seen at North Albury. At North Seymour, we've got various field activities going on whilst we're drilling. We've done aerial geophysics, ground geophysics, soil geochemistry. We've got the diggers and water blasters out there exposing the surfaces, all for target generation as we move through the whole project. So Root, this is the second project where drilling has already commenced. As you can see, we've got three main target areas: Macomb, Morrison and Root Bay. Macomb's got a historical estimate on it. Known pegmatites at surface. They've already been drilled in 1950 and Arden had a crack in 2016. Morrison, more exposed pegmatites, as you can see on the pictures on the top right. And then Root Bay, another spodumene occurrence. So as I say, yeah, watch this space as we start to drill out Root. To fast track production, we need to make sure we've done all of our baseline studies. So we're actually in year 2 of a 3-year package. We've already kicked off our fauna and flora and water management studies. They are well developed. And as I say, we're coming into our final year right now. Permitting is a critical path line item. So it involves consultation with the Indigenous groups where we're working, public consultation, environmental assessments, and permitting. Now we want to stay within a provincial permitting structure and not go federal. This will absolutely fast track our development. Now we talk about green lithium. Well, one of the main kickers for working in Ontario is 98% of the energy in Ontario is green. Now, not only is it green, it's cheap as well. So if you're working in a mine site in Western Australia, you're on gensets, creating a big carbon footprint. But right here in Ontario, the power is either hydro and nuclear, both considered green energy and renewable. In North America, the lithium supply chain is in its infancy. Now it's really up to us to get out there, move quickly on the various flagship deposits that we've got, get them into production and get that supply chain going. There's going to be a massive crunch. They're building the downstream battery plants and they're building the downstream EV plants, but there is no supply. This crunch is going to be horrendous for North America. So that's why they're pushing to have domestic supply right now. But as we know, it does take time to get a mine up and running, so this crunch is only going to get worse. To expedite critical minerals of domestic supply, the US have released the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, essentially what they're saying is a portion of the battery has to come from domestic supply. But as we know, there is no domestic supply. So everyone's scrambling in America to start building mines. But as they found out, it doesn't happen overnight. So now everyone's started to focus north of the border to Canada, and that's exactly our jurisdiction with green technology metals. So it's not a surprise we've got people like LAC as major shareholders, because Canada really does have the footing for mining and the understanding and the capability to get up and running. So the next step is to complete a preliminary economic assessment of our project, and that's Seymour. So we've already kicked that off. It's well developed. We're working in conjunction with Primero as they will be doing our processing and downstream. So this will be released in Q1 2023. As you can see, we have a lot of infrastructure at all of our projects, especially at Seymour. We actually have the Trans-Canadian Railway goes through the southern end of our tenement, and there is a rail siding there as well. So in terms of transporting ores around, this is perfectly placed. We have Armstrong that's got a hospital, an airport, fuel, hotels, and then we're all within reach of Thunder Bay where we're planning to put our hydroxide facility. And as you can see, this is all powered by hydro, which is low cost energy. So this is our schedule, how we're going to accelerate development. Drilling will not stop. We've got the 44,000 hectares of projects that we need to work through to create the long-term supply chain. Every 6 months we'll be releasing resource updates. The baseline and permitting has already commenced. We've already kicked off the preliminary economic assessment scoping study, and that will just roll straight into a feasibility study. Project construction on site is in H2 2024, first spodumene H2 2025, first hydroxide H1 2027. So as you can see, we're driving this project into production. Because we'll have multiple mines coming online, there'll be an eastern hub and a western hub. The eastern hub will come into production first, creating an SC6 concentrate, and there may be an opportunity to sell that into the current very buoyant market. Then as we start to develop the lithium hydroxide plant in Thunder Bay, all ores from the east and west will come down to a central hub and be processed. Thank you for listening to my presentation. It's been an absolute pleasure. Look, we're having a great time up here in northwest Ontario. We're in a great commodity. We're in a mining jurisdiction. Like North America's coming into this supply chain crunch. And really the first mover will take all up here in North America. And we're well positioned with our backers being Primero, AMCI, Lithium Americas Corp, and there'll be a few more joining us as partners as we go, including Lakehead University, who we're talking to right now about a school of excellence right here in Thunder Bay for critical minerals, in specific lithium. So very exciting times. Drill rigs are spinning at Seymour. We're uncovering more pegmatites over there. So that hasn't stopped. Now we kicked off drilling at Root. We've already hit the pegmatites. You'll see releases coming out on what we've hit, and then with assays you'll see that. So very interesting times. Thanks a lot, and see you all soon back in Australia.